Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something that, well, really touches all of us comedy.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to explore what makes us laugh, the surprising range of styles out there, and honestly, the guts it takes to stand up and try to be funny.
Yeah, it's quite something. And we've looked at some really interesting stuff, reflections on how jokes actually work, different comedic approaches, and, what comedians themselves go through.
Right. So our mission today essentially is to kind of unpack comedy for you.
Exactly. We want to dig into why it works, why we connect with it, the different shapes it takes.
And maybe what makes it land or sometimes not land.
Yeah, basically a shortcut to understanding this huge part of being human.
Okay, so first big question. Why do we actually laugh? Some of the ideas we looked at are really compelling.
Mm-hmm.
One that really stood out to me was the social bonding theory. Like, way back, maybe sharing a laugh meant, okay, we're safe, we're connected.
Which is fascinating because you totally see echoes of that today.
Oh,
where
absolutely.
So much comedy relies on us all getting the same reference or understanding the same social quirk.
Those inside jokes.
Exactly. Or even just, cultural touchstones. When a comedian hits that shared experience, it kind of reinforces that we're all in this together, seeing the same thing.
So that feeling when everyone in the room laughs, it's actually doing something important.
Totally. It's like this deep-seated, maybe even evolutionary response that comedy just plugs right into. It's not just a feeling.
That makes sense. And it's not just about connection, is it? There's that element of surprise, the unexpected.
Definitely. Our sources really highlight how much humor relies on twisting our expectations.
And relatability too, right? Seeing yourself or your own weird life reflected back.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes, let's be honest, it's just pure absurdity, something completely nonsensical.
So how do jokes actually do that expectation twisting?
Well, think about misdirection. That's a classic technique. You paint a picture, lead the listener down one path, and then bang, you pull the rug out with the punchline, like that old one, a man walks into a bar.
Yeah.
Exactly. You expect a story, maybe a conversation, but you get this literal physical outcome. It's that sudden shift.
That mental whiplash almost.
Precisely. Your brain does a little stumble trying to reconcile the setup and the punchline, and that often triggers the laugh. It's a cognitive hiccup.
Right. That little brain jolt. Okay, so clearly humor isn't just one thing.
Not at all.
The stuff we reviewed explores this huge variety of comedic styles. There's way more than just, standard jokes.
For sure. And different styles work for different people, different moods, different purposes, really.
Like observational comedy, that's a big one.
Right. Focusing on the funny in just everyday life, stuff we all recognize. Jerry Seinfeld is kind of the classic example, isn't he?
Totally. What's the deal with airline food?
Exactly. Taking those mundane, often slightly baffling parts of life and holding them up.
Okay, but then you have stuff that's a bit edgier, dark humor.
Yeah, that definitely pushes boundaries sometimes. The material we looked at had that example. I told my therapist I'm scared of stairs. She helped me step by step.
Oof. Yeah, that gives you that nervous kind of laugh. How does that work? Making light of something serious.
That's a really good question. I think dark humor often plays with that tension between the serious topic and the unexpected, often absurd punchline.
It's jarring.
It is. It can be a way to kind of cope with difficult things, maybe. Diffuse them a bit by looking at them sideways through comedy. That stare joke flips the meaning of step by step in a way that's both clever and, a little unsettling.
Okay, and then there's satire. That feels different again, more pointed.
Yeah, satire usually has an agenda, doesn't it? It's about critique, social commentary.
Like The Onion or Saturday Night Live's political stuff.
Exactly. Using exaggeration, irony, taking some societal flaw or political absurdity and just blowing it up until it looks ridiculous.
So you laugh, but you're also thinking.
Right. The goal is often to provoke thought through the laughter.
And we can't forget slapstick.
Oh, pure physical comedy. The falls, the chases.
Yeah, sometimes just seeing someone, slip on a banana peel, it's basic, almost primal humor.
It really is. Which makes you think, doesn't it? What kinds of comedy do you listening tend to gravitate towards?
Yeah, is it the clever wordplay, the relatable stuff, the shock value, or just the silly physical gags? Something to ponder. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Because anyone who tries comedy knows sometimes it doesn't work. Bombing.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty much inevitable, isn't it? The material we looked at is clear. It happens to everyone.
Even the huge names.
Absolutely. Established comedians, people like Dave Chappelle or Ali Wong, they've had nights where things just didn't connect. It's part of the process.
But what's interesting is how our sources frame it, not just as failure, but as fuel. Failure fuels funnier.
I love that phrase because it's true, isn't it? If you think about learning anything, you try, you mess up, you figure out why.
You learn from the silence.
Exactly. You have to analyze, okay, what went wrong there? Was it the joke, the delivery, the audience? And you adjust.
It's definitely a risk every time, putting yourself out there.
Totally. And sometimes a joke just whiffs.
Yeah. And how do they recover? Our sources mentioned Kevin Hart just saying, all right, that didn't work.
Right. Acknowledging it, breaking the tension, showing you're aware and moving on. It takes confidence.
And maybe ultimately learning to laugh at yourself when things go wrong. That's actually a really valuable skill to come out with.
It's resilience. And yeah, it probably does make you funnier in the long run.
So for anyone listening who wants to maybe, inject a bit more humor into their own life or interactions.
Yeah, our sources had some pretty practical tips, like a little comedy cheat sheet.
Okay, first up, timing. This seems crucial.
Oh, huge. It's not just what you say, but when. That tiny pause right before the punchline
Builds the anticipation.
exactly lets it land properly. It makes a huge difference.
Okay, what else? Specificity.
Yes, being specific. So instead of just saying some guy, maybe my uncle who collects porcelain cats,
Right. The details make it funnier. Paints a picture.
definitely amps up the humor. Details are gold.
And then there's read the room. That seems vital.
Absolutely critical. Know your audience. Know the context.
Like that edgy joke might kill with your friends.
But maybe not at your cousin's very formal wedding reception.
Yeah. Bad idea.
Yeah.
You got to gauge the vibe, the people.
For sure. Context is everything. And the last big tip from the materials was great. Steal from life.
So use your own experiences.
Exactly. Your awkward moments, your weird observations, those embarrassing things that happen. That's often the best source material. It's relatable because it's real.
So wrapping this all up, it feels like comedy is this amazing tool, really. It can take difficult stuff and make it lighter, turn anxiety into something you can laugh about.
Even turn a tough crowd into, well, future material perhaps?
Maybe. We hope this whole exploration gave you a bit more insight into the art and maybe science of what makes us laugh.
Yeah, a deeper appreciation for how complex and clever it can all be.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. Think about a specific joke. Could be famous, could be personal. Doesn't matter what's one that consistently gets you. And just mull over why. Why does that one work so well for you? It's a cool way to explore your own sense of humor a bit more.